The FBI's best codebreakers spent 30 years on one book until they found the lie. It was a damp November afternoon in 1912 when rare book dealer Wilfrid Voynich stepped into the shadowed halls of the Villa Mondragon, a crumbling Jesuit estate outside Rome. The air smelled of old parchment and damp stone, the kind of scent that clings to forgotten places. Among the dusty shelves and yellowed tomes, something caught his eye: a locked chest, its iron hinges rusted shut. Inside, wrapped in brittle linen, lay a manuscript unlike anything he had ever seen. 240 pages of looping, unknown script, each line flowing like a river of secrets. The illustrations were even stranger: naked women wading through emerald green pipes, their bodies arched as if in some ancient ritual. Plants with leaves that spiraled like fractals, roots twisting in impossible directions, stars mapped in constellations that didn't match any known sky. And yet, every test carbon dating ink analysis, the keen eyes of parchment experts insisted this book was real. 600 years old, written in the 15th century. But if that was true, why did the math refuse to add up? Here's the thing: the Voynich manuscript wasn't just a mystery, it was a perfect one. A puzzle so seamless, so utterly convincing that it defied logic. In the 1940s, during the height of World War II, the U.S. Army's top cryptographers pored over its pages, their fingers tracing the unfamiliar glyphs. They failed. In the 1970s, the FBI took their turn, dedicating years to the enigma. Still nothing. Even the CIA, convinced it held some lost secret, perhaps a medieval cipher of alchemical knowledge or a hidden map to untold riches, couldn't crack it. But the book didn't just resist decoding. It resisted being real, and that was the first clue. Then, in 1976, linguist William Friedman noticed something impossible. Text didn't follow the rules of any known language. Not Latin, not Greek, not even the fragments of a lost tongue from some forgotten civilization. But it did follow the rules of something else entirely. Something that looked like language, but didn't act like one. It was too random, too perfect. Like someone had rolled dice to create a fake alphabet, then painstakingly filled page after page with meaningless symbols. And that's exactly what they'd done. But wait, the ink was real. The parchment was real. The carbon dating placed it squarely in the 1400s. So how could it be a fake? That's when the final clue emerged. In 2009, a team of researchers tested the ink again, this time with more advanced techniques. And they found something that shouldn't have been there: modern chemicals. Trace elements that didn't exist in the 15th century. Someone had used a recipe that wasn't invented until the 1800s, a recipe so precise it had fooled even the most advanced tests of the time. The ink, the parchment, the age, it had all been meticulously faked, and that's when the truth hit like a cold wind. The Voynich manuscript wasn't a lost treasure, it was a lie. A hoax so convincing, so beautifully crafted, that it had fooled scholars, spies, and governments for over a century. Someone had faked a 600-year-old book so well that it passed every test. The ink? Perfect. The parchment? Flawless. The plants? Drawn with such care that botanists spent decades debating their origins. Except for one thing: no one thought to question the math. Because here's the real kicker: the person who created it didn't just fake the text, they faked the illustrations. Those bizarre plants, they weren't from any known species, they were made up. Drawn to look real, but with details that didn't make sense. Roots that didn't connect to stems. Leaves that curled in ways no plant ever could. And the naked women in pipes? They weren't bathing. They were part of a system of fake alchemical diagram designed to look ancient, but with no real purpose. No function. No meaning. Just the illusion of meaning. So who did it? That's the mystery that lingers, the question that still haunts historians. Some say it was Voynich himself, the rare book dealer who first brought it to light. A man who knew the value of a good forgery. Others point to John Dee, a 16th century mathematician and astrologer obsessed with codes and secrets. Or perhaps it was someone else entirely, some forgotten genius who saw the world's hunger for mystery and decided to feed it. But the truth is, we may never know. Because the genius of the hoax wasn't just in the details, it was in the confidence. The creator didn't just make a fake book, they made one that felt real. One that played on our deepest desires, the desire to believe in lost knowledge, in secrets waiting just beyond our grasp. Imagine it, a book that promises to unlock the mysteries of the universe. A text that could rewrite history, a cipher that, if cracked, would reveal truths no one else knows. That's the allure of the Voynich manuscript. It's not just a puzzle. It's a siren song calling to the curious, the ambitious, the dreamers. And for over a century, the world answered. And that's the lesson the FBI learned the hard way. Sometimes the biggest lies aren't hidden in codes. They're hidden in plain sight, in the things we want to believe, in the stories we're too eager to accept without question. The Voynich manuscript didn't just fool the experts. It fooled history itself. So here's the question. Would you have spotted the fake? Would you have seen the cracks in the illusion? Or would you, like the world's best codebreakers, have spent decades chasing a shadow? Would you have noticed that the plants had no roots? That the women in the pipes served no purpose? That the text, no matter how carefully crafted, didn't breathe like a real language? Because the Voynich manuscript didn't just fool the experts, it fooled us all. And that's the most surprising part of all. Comment hoax if you think you could have cracked it.